Hello, students. Have you ever thought about what happens after a law is passed in Parliament? Who is it that actually runs our country day to day? Well, today, we're going to understand a very important part of our government that does exactly that, the political executive.
So here's what we'll cover. We'll start by seeing how a law is put into action. Then we will look at the two different types of executives. We'll also try to understand who is more powerful, a minister or a civil servant. And finally, we'll learn about the Prime Minister and his team, the Council of Ministers.
You know, we all know that the Parliament makes laws, but making a law is just the first step. The bigger question is, once a law is made, who makes sure it is followed all over the country? Just think about it for a second. Let's say the government passes a law for better schools. Well, that law doesn't just build the schools by itself, right? You need a huge team of people to plan everything, manage the money, and run the administration every single day to make it happen.
And this entire team of people is known as the executive. As the name suggests, their main job is to execute or implement the laws and policies made by the Parliament. In fact, when we talk about the government, we're often referring to the executive.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. In a democracy like India, the executive is not just one single group. It's actually made up of two different categories of people. One is political, and the other is permanent. Let's understand the difference. First, let's talk about the political executive. These are the leaders that we, the people, elect during elections. For example, the Prime Minister and all the other ministers. They are elected for a specific period, usually 5 years, and their job is to take all the major policy decisions. And then we have the permanent executive. These people are our civil servants like IAS and IPS officers. They are not elected. They are appointed through exams and they work for a long time, till their retirement. They are called permanent because even if the government changes after an election, they remain in their posts to help run the administration. So you see, there's a very clear difference. The political executive is elected by the people and is temporary. Their role is to decide what to do. The permanent executive, on the other hand, is appointed, they are long-term, and their job is to help implement those decisions. They provide the expertise and continuity. Now, this difference brings us to a very important question in any democracy. Who really has more power? Is it the elected minister, or is it the expert civil servant who might have more knowledge about a particular subject? Let's find out. It's a very common question to have. Think about the finance ministry. The civil servants there are experts in economics, probably more than the minister. But still, the final say, the final decision, rests with the minister. Why is that? The reason is actually quite simple, and it forms the very basis of democracy. In a democratic country, the will of the people is the most important thing. It is supreme. You see, the minister has been elected by the people. He or she represents the people. Therefore, the minister is empowered to make decisions on behalf of all of us. And, more importantly, the minister is accountable to the people. If a decision goes wrong, the minister has to answer for it in the Parliament and to the people in the next election. Let me give you a simple analogy. Think of it like this. The civil servants are the experts. They can tell you all the possible routes to reach a place. But it is the minister who represents the people and has a bigger picture in mind who decides the final destination. The minister decides where the country should go. So if the ministers are the ones who decide the destination, then who leads all these ministers? That brings us to the head of the government, the most important political institution in our country, the Prime Minister. As the head of the government, the Prime Minister has a wide range of powers. Almost every important decision, whether it's about the economy or relations with other countries, is taken under the Prime Minister's leadership. So, how is a Prime Minister chosen? This is a very important point to remember. We, as citizens, do not directly vote for the Prime Minister. We vote for our Member of Parliament, or MP. The party or coalition of parties that wins a majority of seats in the Lok Sabha then elects its leader, and the president then appoints this leader as the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister's powers are quite extensive. He or she is in charge of cabinet meetings and coordinates the work of all the different ministries. The PM decides which minister gets which department and can even change them. The PM has the power to dismiss ministers, and if the Prime Minister resigns, the entire ministry has to resign. This makes the Prime Minister's position extremely powerful. But of course, the Prime Minister does not work alone. The Prime Minister is the captain of a very large team that helps run the government.
This entire team is officially called the Council of Ministers. It's a big team, usually with about 60 to 80 ministers who are all in charge of different government departments.
So once the Prime Minister is appointed, his or her first big job is to select this team. The Prime Minister gives a list of names to the President, who then formally appoints them as ministers. This is a very important decision for any Prime Minister.
Now, within this big council, all ministers don't have the same rank. At the very top are the cabinet ministers. They are the senior leaders in charge of the most important ministries like defense, finance, home affairs, and so on. Then there are ministers of state with independent charge who look after smaller ministries. And finally, you have ministers of state who are attached to and assist the cabinet ministers.
The most powerful group within the Council of Ministers is the Cabinet. You can think of it as the inner ring or the core team of the government. It's made up of about 25 of the most senior ministers, and it is in the cabinet meetings where most of the important decisions for the country are discussed and approved.
A very important principle that the cabinet follows is called collective responsibility. This means that the cabinet works like a single team. Even if a minister personally disagrees with a decision in a private meeting, once the decision is made, every minister has to support it in public. They all share the responsibility together.
So, to conclude, the political executive is the body that turns the will of the people into actual action. It is the bridge between the laws made by Parliament and our daily lives. So the next time you watch the news and see a minister announcing a policy, I hope you will remember the entire system that works behind the scenes. You can see it in action all around you every single day.